Hello, everybody. Welcome to this market report. My name is Christian Charlo. Today we're Friday, April 12th. Today, folks, we have a market correction. A market correction that, especially in the American market, that might continue further if ever the economic indicators that we're waiting for next week are actually negative. So this correction has been stronger on the TSX. If we take a look here at the TSX graph, it's actually testing its support. It's mostly because of the gold. Look at here the gold sector. There's an observation I want to show you. This is a downward corridor, right? And every time we have tested that downward corridor, we had a rebound on the gold spot price. So right now, we're testing that downward corridor. Yes, we broke that support that for the last 2 years, but we're testing that corridor. So we believe that eventually we're going to have a slight intraday rebound on the gold. So to benefit from that, how can you do it? Well, we might have to benefit. You could actually either get it on the gold, but I would wait for the indicators of next week to see how they're going to be. If they're negative, well, then I think we could expect a slight increase in the gold. You have GLL, which plays the gold, which tracks the gold in the downside. Actually, it's getting out of its upward corridor. So if you want to open some positions on that, I think it would be better to day trade, because the decreased potential that we have in the gold sector is not really that great. So GLL, if you get in next week, I think it's mostly good for day trading because it's almost overbought. But to benefit from an increase in the gold, I think bullish ETF like UGLD or UGL will be ETF that you could consider to benefit from an increase. And we think that for the gold, what you should do is actually get in for day trading until 149, which will be your target to actually cash in on those two bullish ETF like UGLD and UGL. So market correction, especially on the TSX, on the S&P 500, which is the American market, and on this correction here, if ever the indicators are negative, we might go further down and even break that support. And there are a couple of sectors that we publish on marketgurus.tv that you can have access for free for 10 days. And those sectors, there are some stocks that are worth to watch for potential short. For instance, on the oil and equipment service, look at that downward corridor. If there's a continuity of the correction, we might reach the low of that downward corridor at 565. In terms of the stocks in that sector, which might be shortable, you have Superior Energy Plus until 2343. You have RPC. It's making a sideways formation now, testing its downward trend. So on a clear break of that support at 1448, that will be a nice shortable opportunity. Look at here, we're almost making a lower top on the stochastics, 933 stochastic. So this is worth to be watched. And basic energy services also, it's making a sideways formation. And if ever we break that support here at around 1275, which also coincides with the support of January here, that would be a nice opportunity for short for basic energy services. On Rowan Companies is also another example, because look at Rowan Companies. Yes, there's that downward corridor, but there's also that support at 3080. So short it here and 3080, that's where you cash in on Rowan Companies, if ever we have a continuity of that correction. So right now, yes, it's shortable. I would actually open half of a position in Rowan Companies, and you get out only if the stock gets out of that downward corridor, on the upside, of course. The commercial and vehicle truck is also another sector that might be shortable. You have Oshkosh, which is actually testing that support. So if it breaks that support, that would be really critical though. And target around $35 for Oshkosh. So we will just close the gap that happened here on January 24th. And Navistar International, that will be a nice shortable opportunity. We're not there yet confirming an overbought situation, but we're almost confirming that overbought situation. So I'll put that on my watch list and be more patient on Navistar International. I'd like to see a break of that support at 31.97 before shorting it. So a market correction is expected if ever the indicators that are due for next week are totally negative. There's going to be also earnings that are going to continue. In terms of the sectors that you should watch that was published on marketgurus.tv that you can have access for free, there was the oil and equipment services. There was also the commercial and vehicle and truck services. Those are all the stocks that were on the oil and equipment and in the vehicle truck Those are the two stocks, Oshkosh and Navistar International. But what is also worth to watch next week, it's a potential rebound on the gold because we're actually reaching the low of that important downward corridor. So we might expect a slight intraday rebound. And to benefit from that rebound, you have GLL and UGLD. But if ever we have a decrease, you have UGLD and UGL to benefit from that rebound. But if we have a slight decrease in the gold, GLL will actually be the ETF to day trade because the potential on the downside on the gold, technically speaking, it's not much though, because we're actually there almost on the gold. That said, see you next week for our market report. And don't forget that the more money you make, the happier we are.